Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia here, and welcome back to another video on Overwatch, or more of an Overwatch League video. It depends how you look at it, doesn't it? Today, we are going to talk about goats. Yeah, we all get that sinking feeling about goats. But it's not just goats, it's about the new patch. It's about Baptiste, it's about the PTR, and it's about the Overwatch League, and what we might see in terms of a pro meta in the coming Stage 2. Yes, Stage 1 hasn't finished yet. Yes, Stage 1 hasn't had its playoffs yet, but bear with me. So, Baptiste is our new hero. He is Hero 30 for Overwatch, and most likely will be playable in Stage 2 of the Overwatch League, along with a massive array of buffs and nerfs to heroes on the PTR. Now, let's dispel a thing here. Baptiste doesn't counter goats, because the Overwatch devs are like, well, we created a hero to counter a certain comp a while back. It's fair to say she wasn't that well received. I don't think we want to do that again. So basically, the nerfs and buffs are more to counter goats rather than Baptiste's. If anything, Baptiste actually works well with goats, considering his AoE healing. So there's that. Now, I've seen a bit of what the pros have had to say. I've seen a bit of pro footage from JNATHYN, and it's interesting. He could be quite prolific when used in the right way. Also, he could be utterly useless. The problem is, at the moment, they're not scrimming Baptiste, because obviously there are still Stage 1 games going, so they're scrimming for Stage 1, they're scrimming on the patch they're on, not the Baptiste patches on the PTR. We will see more in the week's break between, well, the teams that aren't in the playoffs will start from the end of next week or so, and then we'll see more after the 24th-ish, when we get a week off from the Overwatch League between Stage 1 and 2, when they start scrimming on the patch that they'll be on. Obviously, they might not be on the Baptiste patch, but I'd be really surprised if they weren't. It'd be kind of a bit odd, and I know they want to keep up with the patches this year. So, Baptiste, his healing abilities actually complement goats quite well. The big thing, and a lot of pros have been saying this, and I thought this as soon as I saw him, is Immortality Field, his E ability. That is very powerful. And if you look at the Overwatch League Stage 1, we have seen some teams, notably London and Shanghai, opt out of D.Va and go for Sombra to counter goats, or what's it called? Sombrero goats? That actually sounds quite good. So, I've seen some pros say this is actually humongous for D.Va, because this could actually see D.Va nudged out in favour of Sombra, because obviously the biggest combo in goats right now is Grav Bomb. Now, the only thing that can actually counter Grav really massively effectively right now is D.Va with a defense matrix. But with Baptiste, if he puts down his Immortality Field, you're not going to die from that bomb unless they take out the field. If you put that bomb in and it explodes while the field is down, it'll destroy the field, but it won't kill you. So, in effect, that's a big nerf or counter to Zarya or Zarya D.Va combos, which is the backbone of goats a lot of the time. The thing is D.Va is kind of more effective to counter just a Grav, because D.Va, the only way you can stop a defense matrix is either to outsmart the D.Va, which at Overwatch League level is difficult to do, or you demech D.Va. Now, D.Va's mech has obviously more HP than the Immortality Field drone does, so it's going to be difficult until we see what the pros do with it. Now, another thing that has been rumoured is a bunker meta. Now, if you don't know what a bunker is, a bunker is an Orisa with immobile types of DPS and damage buffing. Now, if we look at Baptiste, how would he fit into this? Well, he does decent amount of damage with his burst rifle. He does AoE healing for the Orisa. He's got his immortality field to keep the bunker alive. But he also has his ultimate, which is a barrier which buffs everything that basically goes through it. So it buffs damage and it buffs healing. So anything coming out of that bunker when Baptiste has got his ult up is going to be prolific. It's going to be a massive amount of damage. So will we see the rise of an Orisa comp? I don't know. The problem is with that comp is it's very immobile. That could effectively be good for D.Va because she can negate incoming damage very well. But also, if you just run on to that team in the bunker with goats and displace them out of the immortality field, then it's pretty useless. So, again, it depends what transcribes. We might not see Baptiste at all. Don't think we're automatically going to a Baptiste meta here. It might just vary the meta. Some players are saying, well, teams will just play different things. And it'll be whoever outsmarts them in terms of team comp. Another thing Baptiste could do, and no pros have said this, but I have kind of seen it. If you go back to the Overwatch World Cup of 2017, I think it was, we saw Junkertown for the first time. And Junkertown was the home of the pirate ship. Pirate ship, if you don't know, is an Orisa with a Bastion on top of the payload, moving through and unstoppable, basically, with a Mercy damage buffing the Bastion. Imagine that with Baptiste's ultimate and normal immortality field. And the crazy amount of damage the Bastion could put out. Could this push... Because recently we've seen the pirate ship at the pro level decline. Would that bring the pirate ship back to a bit more of the forefront in the pro meta? We saw the pirate ship quite a bit in stage 1 of the inaugural season, because that wasn't long after the World Cup. But more of what we saw in that stage was Junkrat, simply because Junkrat was crazy. Also, Junkrat has had buffs to his damage, along with Pharah as well. So those are obviously counters to goats as well. We've also seen a big buff to McCree, especially his Deadeye. So McCree's Deadeye is one of the worst ultimates in the game, simply because it's so damn easy to counter. That's why he really doesn't... Half the time, pros are using Deadeye just to reload, because they're more effective putting out damage themselves rather than relying on Deadeye to get kills. Deadeye does a lot more damage to shields now. I think it's up from something like 250 to 550, which is crazy. And then you whack that Deadeye just behind a Baptiste buff, a Baptiste ultimate, what is it called? Amplification Matrix. So then you're doing a crazy amount of damage to McCree and his Deadeye. Again, it can be countered, but it's going to be doing a lot of damage. It's going to be eliminating your shields immediately, so this is not enough to goats. Reinhardt just standing there is not going to have a nice time looking at a McCree that's about to do 1100 damage to his shield. Bye-bye shield. Yeah. As you can see, a lot of the PTR buffs and nerfs are to goats. Lucio has also had a nerf on his speed as well, which means it's going to be more difficult to get in with goats. Zen has had a buff to his damage, which will be good for Jonak, and Izayaki, and Badosin. Basically Boombox and any other Zenyatta, but his Discord now debuffs less. So he doesn't increase damage on tanks as much as he did. Will this get rid of Zen? No, because the Discord is still incredibly powerful, especially at the high levels. Some people have said perhaps he might be swapped out every now and then for a Baptiste. I don't know. The only thing Baptiste has got going for him in terms of that matchup is Baptiste has got mobility with his jump. The only problem with Baptiste's mobility is that his mobility just goes up. It doesn't. It's not like McCree Roll or Tracer Blink. Lucio's just got speed. Moira Fade. Mercy Guardian Angel. It doesn't get you out. It gets you up. So it depends whether you're near high ground at the time. It's very difficult to tell. Baptiste is one of the more difficult heroes to tell that have come out in recent times. We saw Wrecking Ball and we knew immediately he's not going to do that much to the meta. He's not massive. Yes, we've seen a bit of play, especially from Chengdu on Hammond, or Wrecking Ball, but he's not a must pick. Ashe, similar thing. We've seen her, but nowhere near as much, but we're not seeing much DPS anyway. Brigitte, we knew, was going to change the meta. She was built for it. She was going to eliminate dive, and did exactly that. Baptiste is not like that. He's not meta eliminating. It's going to be interesting to see how Baptiste is played. The only thing I would expect from Baptiste is him not to be played in dive, because his healing is literally an AoE around him, and then things very similar to Junkrat grenades, which splash healing, but they don't bounce. So those grenades are not going to be effective dive. And that's why he complements Goats with his healing, because if you're grouped up, he's going to do a ton of healing. But dive, when you're all spread out, nah, he's not going to be that brilliant. Again, I've thought of certain comps like Anubis. Remember the big high ground that May used to boost Risseron in the inaugural season of the Overwatch League? Could see a Widowmaker up there with a Baptiste, his ultimate, in front of the Widowmaker. Suddenly you're looking at somewhere in the region of 600 damage. Headshot. Eliminate a tank immediately. Pretty crazy. So it's a kind of buff to Widowmaker, but very situational. In conclusion, it's very difficult to know what Baptiste will do. In terms of the nerfs and buffs, it's kind of like it makes maps more situational. So if you've got a long spawn run, or you've got a long engagement run, then you might not play Goats, because Lucio's speed has been nerfed, and you're going to take an incredible amount of splash damage coming in, which with the less speed might actually turn into eliminations instead of just big damage. We might see more dive, not a massive amount though. And in terms of any wacky bunker comps, we really don't know. We don't know until we see scrims, until we see stage 2. It will be interesting. I am interested to see what will happen in stage 2. If we go into week 1 of stage 2 and we see tons of Goats, don't be alarmed, because teams will still be adjusting to the meta. We saw that earlier on in stage 1. They will still be adjusting. So we might see a new meta develop as the stage moves through, but maybe not immediately. Or we might see something completely stand out from the teams all of a sudden, and you're looking at some sort of crazy odd meta for supports or something stupid. I don't know. Bunker, I don't believe in Bunker at all. It's just way too immobile. We think Goats is immobile, but I don't see Bunker working in the long term. It may catch a few teams off early on, but not long term. I really don't know what we're going to see in stage 2, and I think that's what makes the Overwatch League exciting right now. But don't expect Goats to be going anywhere, because it will still be around. Just hopefully not as prolific as it was. But For now, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.